Ladies and gentlemen, I never thought I'd watch Star Trek in the early going and they would allow space pimps to take over the Enterprise or try to take over. That's what happened with Mudd's Women. Now, this hilarious and somewhat sexist episode of Star Trek, Season 1, Episode 6. Now, is written by Stephen Kandel, based on a story by Gene Roddenberry, go figure, and directed by Harvey Hart. It first aired on October 13, 1966. In this episode, the Enterprise pursues a vessel and rescues occupants. Harry Mudd, an interstellar con man, and three mysteriously beautiful women he is transporting are there to become the wives of settlers. This is the first of several episodes to feature Harry Mudd. He also appears in I, Mudd, the animated series episode Mudd's Passion, and in Star Trek Discovery as a recurring character. Now, this one, the USS Enterprise, under the command of Captain Kirk, is in pursuit of an unregistered cargo spaceship. The ship overloads its engines and escape attempt through an asteroid field. Kirk orders Enterprise shields extended around the other spacecraft to protect it until its occupants can be transported aboard safely. This action destroys all but one of the lithium crystal circuits in the Enterprise's warp engines. We really don't know why, but it does. The Enterprise beams the cargo ship's three passengers and captain aboard, just as an asteroid impact destroys their spaceship. In the transporter room, the captain gives his name as one Leo Walsh. The three women who accompany him are stunningly beautiful. According to the script, yes, not to me, no. They look like Crystal Gale, the bastard son of Boreas Salming and Elkie Summer, and a Crystal Gale and a Mary Majel Barrett knockoff. Now, they distract the male crew members of the Enterprise, including Mr. Spock, whose Vulcan heritage makes him immune to female charms. The women are intended as wives for settlers on the planet Ophiuchus 3 and are introduced as Ruth Bonaventure. Good luck with that word. Eve McCurran and Magdo Kovacs. All three signed on with Walsh to escape a situation in which their marriage prospects were slim or non-existent. Kirk convenes a hearing during which the computer contradicts Walsh's testimony, reporting that his shipmaster's license has been revoked and forcing him to reveal his true name, one Harcourt Fenton Mudd, a criminal with an extensive record. The hearing ends as the final lithium crystal fails. Now, Roger C. Carmel really should have been nominated for an Emmy for this. Tremendous performance. Scoud, Rapscallion, Scourge, Entrepreneur, Carpetbagger, all of it in him. And a little bit of humor as well. Now, with its lithium crystals, the Enterprise must limp on reserve power to storm-plagued planet Rigel 12 to obtain new crystals from the miners there. Ben Childress, the chief miner, having been in contact with Mudd, demands his release along with the women exchange for the crystals. The Enterprise's remaining power is insufficient to maintain the ship's orbit for more than a few days, threatening a fire re-entry into the planet's atmosphere, so Kirk is forced to allow Mudd and the women to beam down to the planet, and are still on the alleged drug that's making them look beautiful, and there's a rush when he couldn't find it, and really they all turned ugly. However, once they are Childress reneges on the deal. At an impromptu party with the three miners, Eve becomes angry when they begin fighting over the other two women and runs away into a magnetic dust storm, with Childress and Kirk in pursuit. Kirk beams back to the Enterprise to try to locate them from orbit. Childress eventually finds Eve, brings her to his quarters, and falls asleep. On waking, he is confronted with a much plainer Eve, who is basically telling him, "I'm making you breakfast, and put your pots out in the wind to dry them clean." It's a weird thing. Now, when Kirk and Mudd beam down to the planet to deal with Childress, the captain reveals that Mudd has been giving the women the Venus drug, which creates a transient illusory beauty, and that the other two miners have already been married to Ruth and Magna. As Childress confronts Mudd over deception, Eve snatches a dose of what appears to be the Venus drug, but is in fact a placebo or jello. This restores her self-confidence to the point that Childress finds her as attractive as before. Pleased, he gives Kirk the replacement crystals. Kirk offers to take Eve away with him, but she opts to stay with Childress. Eve tells Kirk, "You've got someone up there called the Enterprise." The ship continues on its way with Mudd in custody. Now, what really works for me and doesn't work, yes, they're beautiful women, but we knew that when McCoy said pound for pound, measurement by measurement are the most beautiful women ever, and we're freaking up with McCoy's readouts in his room. So McCoy kind of knows what's going on, but Spock is trying to control these urgings, but he's really affected by it as well. Like they're throwing off pheromones or some kind of ESP. We'll get into that into a second. So is the drug they're taking making them look more beautiful, but is also throwing out some kind of mental game where it's telling the men this is more beautiful than what you're seeing, similar to the salt monster in the first episode? We really don't know. The story was one of 3 submitted for production as the second pilot of Star Trek, the others being the Omega Glory and a selected episode Where No Man Has Gone Before, which was the second pilot. It was filmed as the second episode of the first season after the Corbomite maneuver. Now, Gene Roddenberry told Stephen Candell he wanted a swashbuckling character as a guest lead. Several weeks later, Candell presented his idea, Mud's Women, and started to write the script, but it's like that Roddenberry repeatedly rewrote it. Roddenberry took credit for Candell's story when screen credits were submitted to the Writers Guild. Roddenberry was rewriting every script he was getting, so nothing he could do. Now, I figure it's a top 10 original Star Trek episode, but it kind of lacks compared to I, Mud, which is a lot funnier and a lot more direct. Now, Zach Handlin of the AV Club gave the episode an A, describing the character of Harry Mudd in particular as a familiar character type, but enjoyable one. Now, in 2015, Wired suggested this episode was skippable in their binge-watching guide for the original series. I don't think so. It establishes a lot of things, including McCoy's trope and the trope of many Enterprise members that they like pleasure bars and pleasure planets in recreation to sleep with women. Now, in 2016, TV Line ranked Eve finding out Kirk and giving her placebo rather than the beauty pill as number 13 on the top 20 moments of Star Trek, the original series. I wouldn't give it that high. It was basically just a basic soap opera trope. Now, does the whole episode work? Yes. Would it work in 2023? No, it's a completely different ballgame. But with Harry Mudd, we don't know why he was determined to be mentally unstable. That comes up in the computer. But this is one of the first times you see the computers being used for anything more than just running the ship, like research and stuff. And it really works because you've got to have these background episodes in any long-running or possible long-running science fiction series. But the other actors in the show, like the supporting characters, are not as strong. It would be nice to see, Chekhov react to this. But the 3 women that are involved, they're okay. But like I said, it's not like Our Lady from Amok Time, our actress, and you know what I'm talking about, or even our crazy Yvonne Craig in our crazy episode "Whom the Gods Destroy." That episode, you got to be really a gorgeous woman to make this go in, and they're okay, but they're not plain, obviously, but they're okay. They're like 6 out of 10s. But the main female, wife, looks more like Majel Barrett than a lot of people want to talk about. But I will. She looks like Majel Barrett. How do these women were cast? We don't know. But there are some continuing errors as well I don't want to get into because this is not what our reviews is for. So I give this out of 4, 3.5 out of 4. It is a top 20 episode of the original series. Most of season 1 are as good as this or better. So that's why it's low on the list. But this was shown in season 3. It would really boost that season. But you can tell Roddenberry's fingers were all over this episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what we're doing here with our Star Trek podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.